In studio with me right now is Kwabena Danso, who is also known as Jahwi. Let's find out from his profile what he does.
What to give thanks and praise. Only Jah bless me through my days. Oh, you don't listen to what they say.
Maxime. My birth name is Maxime, yes. I mean, that in itself is not a bad name. It's not a bad name at all. And I appreciate that my father gave that to me. But at the same time, I was really lacking an African identity. So I began to sign my artwork with Kwabena Danso. And I began to perform poetry with Kwabena Danso. Some people call me Max still. My father still calls me Maxime.
Really?
When he feels sarcastic, he'll call me Jahwi.
Start doing one project and you're inspired for it. Does it also affect your inspiration for all your other art works?
More often than not, yes. A lot of my art pieces are actually influenced by music, like the titles especially. So it might be a title of one of my own songs or a song from somebody else. Sometimes I'll be singing, and the imagery that the words invoke likes to manifest itself through art, Or like I'll begin to write new lyrics, and these lyrics begin to inspire imagery in my head. So immediately I'll stop writing and I'll jump onto a canvas or into a sketch pad. And vice versa, like sometimes the work itself begins to evolve. It could be sometimes just thoughts on paper, and these thoughts manifest themselves into artwork later. And vice versa, sometimes artwork can inspire music for me. This new collection is called Surukwentu. Basically, it's either space or heaven travel. And my next exhibition is to do with African cosmology, or the presence of cosmology in the African setting. As a kid, I was born in Russia, and at the time, the space race was like really the thing, It was really drummed into us in the educational system. We're like, yeah, the first person to go to space is Russian, Yuri Gagarin, And I was really fascinated with it, And I come to Africa and I find out that my people here also had like really advanced knowledge of space, deep space, that we are only beginning to understand with modern day technology. And likewise, also with all our deities and even the existence of certain technology like mobile phones, all these things existed in some form here. Where when telecommunications came to Ghana at first, one of the first ones was Mobitel, and I remember I was one of few privileged people to have a Mobitel back then. It was huge, like a huge ass phone. And I used to call it Timbertel, because it was like a log of timber. And my grandfather saw me fidgeting with it one day. He asked me what that was. So I tried to explain to him what a mobile phone was, thinking he wouldn't understand distant communication. And he began to laugh. I'm like, so what's so funny? He's like, well, we used to do this back in the day, but I could see who I was talking to. Can you see who you are talking to? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, all day they would have a calabash of water, and he would talk to whoever he was talking to. He could see the person in the water, in the calabash. So and these are things that really pick my fancy. It's like, we've assigned these things to realms of voodoo and juju now. But these were clearly technologies that we don't understand with our modern day science. Right now we are driving through Legon, and this is where I grew up as a kid. Right here is the University Primary School. I remember a lot of naughty days in this place. There's a spot right at the back there is called Tetemami beans. That bean spot, it has survived many a generation. People finish primary school, come to university after secondary school, and they still come back and eat Tetemami beans.
My name is Abadele Kamban, and I know Kwabena Jahwi Danso through a mutual friend on Abafo, and we started linking up from Capoeira. He had actually started a Capoeira group several years ago, and it was with people who had a mutual interest. And when I came, I had a background in Capoeira going back 12 years, so they recruited me and another brother to join the class. To instruct the class, and from there, Jahwi and I, we linked on the Capoeira music with the Berimbau, so we did several shows together, his shows. He invited me to come on to do Berimbau solos while he did Sipirewa. So ever since then, whenever he has the exhibition at Goethe Institute, we've done exhibitions at Alliance Francaise where he would draw things related to Capoeira, or from his time going to Maputo, he would have me select something, a Capoeira song that encapsulated it, so I'll play that. And then we would do a demonstration. We performed at Accra Mall, fashion shows, various things throughout the city. So we go back some years. I've been here for 3 years, and I can't even remember the time that I didn't know Kwabena. So he's a very good brother, very dedicated to Capoeira and all forms of his art, all manifestations of his art. There's a song called "The World Is Yours." So he has so many different talents that he can channel from photography, and I've seen these things from photography to drawn artwork to tagging, poetry, singing, playing, just so many different things. So basically anything that he applies himself to, he has a potential to be great to. So it's just working at it, putting the time in, and he doesn't have any problem with that. So I see the sky's the limit for him.
As you just saw, this man is multi-talented. He's a jack of all trades. I mean, you saw he sings, he's into graffiti art, he's photography, he's music, like everything. I mean, I could just like fall asleep here. Wow, Kwabena Danso, tell me about this. How do you get into everything?
I mean, everything I wrote out of a necessity. You know, I began sketching when I was really young. And moving into a situation like Ghana, I realized a lot of the things that I needed were not actually available.
What do you mean, the things that you needed?
Well, I also got into music when I was in school, and by the time I was done with school, I wanted to focus on music for a while. I didn't find the kind of producers that would give me the sound that I wanted to hear.
Okay, so do you create your own music?
Yeah, I do that as well. And so I started to create my own sound. I mean, I saw a need and I fulfilled it when it came to anything that I wanted to do. And when some of the music was ready, I was ready to have graphics. All the graphics I was getting was really, mediocre, to say the least. So I taught myself to use Photoshop.
And graffiti art, what really inspires that? I've seen that more in the European culture, but you've brought that also here.
Graffiti for me started also on paper, really, like everything else. I was inspired by what I saw out there. I mean, just via pictures, via video. And at the time I started to do this, there were very, very few graffiti artists in Ghana. Basically, it was then just me and Bushke. Okay. And so it's just grown after that.
So I know, especially in Europe too, actually, graffiti art in some places is banned. You're not allowed to just go anywhere. Does that apply here as well?
I mean, so far I've been blessed in that way. Like all the graffiti that I've done has been legal. It's something that's been
sanctioned. Where have you done some of this?
I've worked on the British Council walls. I still have a few over there. I've worked on Busy Internet, OM Studios.
Wow.
A few video clips. So even some artists, musical artists, want it on their walls in the house. So
yeah. Did you do some of this graffiti at Jamestown as well?
Yes.
Wow, that's all you. So we've seen your artwork, and I'm sure at this point it's even rolling on the screen, showing us what your work, your art is all about. Now, you said singing, so can you sing something for us? Come on! What do you mean? What kind of singing? Is it rapping? What is it?
It's more of a fusion. Like, you know, I've also grown in my music. I also fuse a lot of poetry into it nowadays.
Okay.
And so it's more of a hybrid.
Okay, let us hear something. Because I'm not letting you go. Once you sit in this segment, you need to sing something for us.
I was deeply touched by the plight of certain children on the street, you know, especially young girls who have to sell themselves. And I wrote this one for a child who begged me for money one day. I'll just sing the hook for you.
Okay.
It goes like, she says she wants sip champagne. She know they loving some fufu again. So she dey complain, my lord, about hangover, carry forward and migraine. She says she wants sniff cocaine, aye. She know they love the intampi again. So she the degenerate. She ten junkie monkey on her back and tail.
Wow. I heard some drugs in there. I thought you were talking about money. Someone begging you for money, so that's how you interpret
it's like I interpret these things basically by what I see, by what I feel. A lot of these girls, I mean, go out there and do all kinds of atrocious things that me and you are not even exposed to, you know. And it's that whole drug culture, street culture. It's really engulfs them, you know, in their journeys.
Your favorite painting that you do? Favorite type of painting, or art?
I'll say my greatest artwork so far has been a blessing that I received like 3 years ago. My daughter.
I was gonna say it's money or something. Your daughter, that is really cute. Really? What, do you paint her, or like how do you?
No, she's the art piece.
She is the art piece. Oh. All right. Oh, well, one of the things that he also does is capoeira. For those of you that don't know, I actually don't know. Can you tell us a bit more about capoeira, what it is?
Capoeira is a martial art in a larger sense of the art form. But it's an art form like any other, but it also incorporates music, something that most martial arts don't. It's originally African, which it's an art form which is originally African, but slaves developed it in Brazil.
Okay.
When they were taken across the Atlantic to plantations in Brazil, especially in Bahia.
Okay.
And they developed it under the guise of a traditional dance, so that the authorities would not clamp down on them.
Wow.
So I mean,
smart.
For years and years, they were really oppressed. And two maestres in capoeira, teachers call them maestre.
Okay.
Two maestres, Mr. Bemba and I forgot the other name. My Mr. Bemba basically took it and presented it to the ruling council of then the Brazil government, for it to be a sport. So it's now internationally acclaimed and accepted
as a sport.
As a sport.
Wow. Now, are you pioneering this in Ghana?
Yes, along with another brother called Obadeli.
Okay, and where did you learn it?
Like everything else, I started by myself. And then
you just do everything by yourself. You want to do it, and then you just
I get inspired, and then I try, and then if I get even a.
But where did you hear about it? Even from like
movies.
Movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
My first exposure to capoeira was in a movie called Only the Strong.
Only the Strong.
A lot of people know this movie in Ghana.
Can you do a move for us? You can stand up and do a move for us. Stand up and do a move. No? All right.
I'll take you to my dojo and then we'll film something.
Well, let's take a look at this clip where he was teaching us how to do capoeira. have indeed learned something new, Jahwi. I mean, I'm really inspired by, you know, everything that you do. Where do you see yourself going in the future? In the next, let's say, 5 years, 10 years from now, where's Jahwi going to be?
Oh, everywhere. Everywhere. I'm at a point where I'm trying to bridge all these art forms into one showpiece. I experimented with this in my last exhibition, which was the Yellow Dot. And a friend of mine described it as a variety show. I mean, yes, a variety show, fine. But I want to take all my art forms to their highest peak. I want to present exhibitions that blow the mind, you know, that are beyond just you walking into an exhibition hall and seeing just a performance or just pieces of art on a wall. You know, I want to take it to the next step, the next 360 of art, you know.
Unbelievable. Well, definitely wish you all the best in your endeavors. And you've heard it from Jahwi right here on the Be Bold show. Up next, we're going to be discussing what it means really when they say greener pastures, seeking greener pastures elsewhere. Let's take a break and we'll be back in a moment.